Welcome to Life Chats with Friends. If this is your first time joining us, thank you so much for being here, for checking in to see what we're all about. If you are returning, thank you as always for committing to your own holistic health and well-being and for committing to the mission behind this show. I cannot believe that we are in the month of December in the holiday season yet again. This year was definitely a challenging one, yet filled with so much growth. And I wanted to create the space and time again to do a year in review with you all, similar to what I've done in the last couple of years. And what I wanted to focus on today was a year in review on resilience. So what inspired the reflection on resilience as part of this year in review? This year, as I imagine for many of you, was a year full of just so much change that we all had to maneuver and adapt to, figuring out and trying to think through like, okay, how do we thrive despite what might feel like just change after change after change, and a lot of things that were often out of our control. If I had to characterize this year in one word, it would be strength. And I actually find this a little bit funny because I remember at the top of the year on vacation, and many of you know, or if you've been listening to this and following this journey, you will know that tarot is a big part of my personal development experience and journey. And I remember pulling a card at the top of the year, asking for guidance on what this year is. What will I need to have as I continue navigating my experience? And the card that I pulled was strength. And I often come back to this card in just looking or reflecting back on what my experience was this year. And what this card symbolizes is the inner courage, resilience, and gentle power of compassion to overcome challenges. And so the importance of resilience as a topic to close out the year really just gives us the opportunity to reflect on the changes that we've had to navigate, how we were able to adapt to those and grow through that adversity, and then also giving us this sense of accomplishment, perspective, and motivation to carry us into the new year. So let's dive right on in. So I want you to pause for a moment and think about any unexpected changes that you personally had to navigate this year. And as you do that, I will also go ahead and share some examples of things that I've had to go through. And what I want to do is really spend some time walking through that process, the thinking, the feelings. How do you move through unexpected changes and get to a place of adaptability where you can recreate this next best version of yourself to really meet the moment? So for me, this year, I've had expected and unexpected professional and personal changes that I've had to really sit with and just think about, like, okay, how do you move past and move through these, just recognizing that on the other side of all these things that are happening for me is some sort of goal in learning and growth and development. And so on the professional side, I dealt with the unexpected loss of several teammates, which I grieved, and that's something that I wasn't expecting to grieve, but really did grieve that and felt a lot of survivor's guilt, and even thinking through like, okay, how do you move forward in so much uncertainty? On top of that, I also moved cross country from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles, and with that came a lot of fear and anxiety and loss around bonds and connections that I had tied to a place where I was living for a really long time and got really comfortable. And then coming up another layer, again, this was an election year, so dealing with unexpected outcomes of conversations, the day-to-day and what the news was showing us, and then just a really uncertain business and professional landscape was just so much to move through. But When we think about adapting to changes or new environments, it's often so easy for us to resist those changes. We don't want it. We don't care for what's to come. We are comfortable where we are. And so, why does anything need to change? And this was something that I really had to sit with this year. Kind of again, going back to the strength card that I showed you earlier. How do I meet these moments with compassion to overcome this adversity? And what that really looked like was creating space and moments to really take a step back and think about what was happening for me. Again, not what was happening to me, but what was happening for me, and how could I rise above the wave to really see what the opportunity was at shore, even if I wasn't at the time or at times close to the shore, instead of letting the wave take me and spin and turn me. How can I learn to at least stand or sit on the board to get to this point where I can ride the wave to take me to take me to shore, getting to reap the rewards of seeds that were available as an opportunity to sow for what would be on the other side of these changes. Building on that metaphor and thinking about what was able to help me get up, to help me stand on the board, to be able to see what's on the horizon, it was really thinking about what was in my control. What were the things that I could continuously doing day in and day out that I know would provide the structure and rigor that I needed to give me the strength to continue persevering, to continue moving through these changes, challenging emotions, to be able to show up for myself and others in really meaningful ways. And mindset wise, it was really maintaining some level of positivity, regardless of what was happening around me, good or bad, knowing that all I can control is myself and my emotions. And by controlling my emotions, by showing up in really positive ways, I can co create what I want to see on the other end of this change. Also, too, it's leaning into really simple, basic things that really made the difference for me this year. And that was maintaining my mental health and well being. So, knowing when I was at my limit or when I was, at capacity to say, it's time for me to step away. I need a day off. I need a massage. I need to go for a walk. I need a break. I'm taking a couple of days off, not just a day off. Showing up to the gym as and when needed regularly, knowing that this is my time. This is me time. This is time for me to invest and pour back into myself. And then how do I fill my cup up through those activities so that I can approach the work or the things that I need to do, the things that I need to keep showing up for day in and day out, again, as my absolute best. I know a lot of this is easier said than done. I know that we are all having varied lived experiences, specifically as we think about what's happening across the world and where you might be based. But question and challenge for you is really thinking about how you can practice adaptability as we all continue moving through changes that are yet to come in the year ahead. How do you stay open to change? How do you focus on solutions instead of dwelling on problems and viewing challenges as an opportunity for your own growth and for our collective growth, really? I'm sure this doesn't come as a surprise or won't come as a surprise to many of you, but oftentimes embracing change or moving into new environments, moving into new spaces requires some level of courage. And if I think about this past year that I've had and all the changes that I've had to navigate, one moment that kind of stands out to me where I've really had to act courageously was making the decision to leave my two dogs back in DC with my ex. And there were a lot of conversations, a lot of thoughts, and we're so connected to them emotionally, physically. And there was a lot of fear and doubt that showed up for me in how would be able to navigate that. And it did come with a lot of emotional turmoil, fear around loss, fear around this feeling and gap in my heart. But looking at where I am now and looking at where they are now, it's really learning that, and you've probably heard the saying too, but to love someone or love something, a part of that is being willing or being able to let go and cherishing the moments that we did share, cherishing how they contributed to my own growth and my own understanding of love and my own understanding of fulfillment, and recognizing that we served our purpose to each other, and me being able to intuitively listen to myself and leading up to that decision, have them stay in DC, and then kind of looking at where I am on the other side now. It's like, okay, the time that we've spent, the time that we've shared, that transcends this physical reality that we're currently experiencing right now. All that to say, if you are somebody that is struggling to take that next courageous step or to engage in that courageous act, my advice to you is to feel the fear, feel all the feelings, and do it anyways. There is something to be learned in every single courageous act that we take, whether it be an opportunity for growth or just an opportunity to learn more about yourself and this beautiful, immaculate, interesting lived experience that we are all having here on Earth. So, if I think about ways that I have changed as a person this year as a result of leaning into challenges, really meeting changes and meeting the moment with the version of myself that needed to meet that moment for things to be able to happen and transform, I have found my voice this year and a deeper understanding of my own capabilities as a creator and as a leader. I made a documentary this year, which was an incredible experience and opportunity, getting to really understand by kind of trial and error how to cultivate a vision, how to get people behind that vision, and how to rally different people, different groups to move forward in one unified direction with one goal and objective in mind. I have elevated my way of thinking to create spaces where people feel like they are included, where people feel seen, where people feel heard, and where people feel valued. And outside of that, I mean, even thinking about this project, my commitment to this, I brought on a team. Shout out to the Podtext team. But even thinking about how I bring in different perspectives into what this is so that we can have a more meaningful and outsized impact with the time and energy and effort that's being put into this. I am also really proud, kind of coming to the end of the year and looking at all the things that have been accomplished, but was recognized as the PR network, marketing and communications most influential, or one of the most influential people in 2024. A list of 50 people that were recognized, and just so proud to be a part of that. So proud of everything that was accomplished and all the work, the thinking, the support that I got as well, kind of moving through this year. This wasn't all done alone or kind of in an incubator by myself. So much that we can all lean into and kind of get from challenges and changes. And I hope that you are also creating the space to really sit with and think about, like, yes, despite this being a really challenging year for many of us, like, what did we accomplish? What can we be proud of as we're taking a step and looking back? One of the biggest lessons in resilience that stands out for me this year is just recognizing that I can do hard things that won't break me. It may feel challenging at times, but by staying resilient, by thinking about what you can control, what's in your control, and how do you navigate and move through your experience, you will get on the other side of that, and you will have the opportunity to pause and have that moment of reflection to say, wow, okay, I did that. And we've heard this many times, but I am really a firm believer that pressure does build diamonds. And when you can think about how you navigate pressure through the lens of well-being, I think really that is the secret sauce to getting to that place of success, to saying, yes, hard things are a part of my DNA and how I show up as a person and how I contribute to this world. I am so excited to continue building on these learnings as we move into 2025. And really, for me, it's thinking about how I can become more of a leader in my own life and really thinking about ownership in how I approach what I want to manifest and what I'll continue to create. So, as we close this chapter, I want to leave you with three takeaways about resilience as you think about your own year, the year that you've had, and what you want to do, kind of building on that moving into 2025. And my three takeaways for you are: number one, embracing the unexpected and recognizing that this is often where the magic happens. The second is to take small and brave steps, understanding that this is enough to build momentum to really, again, as I had mentioned at the start of this, instead of letting the wave take you and tumbling you and moving you, how do you learn to work with that to getting to a point where you can sit, to stand on your board, to ride the wave, to take you to shore. And then the third is reflecting on how far you've come. So some of the accomplishments, things that I've shared with you today, it is so important for us to pause and really think about, check in with our accomplishments to give us, to build on that momentum, to help us continue moving forward and recognizing that it's also so easy for us to forget our own strength and the power that we possess in being able to move through and navigate really hard things. All right, friend. Thank you so much for sticking around for this conversation. I hope you are walking away with many different prompts and thoughts that can help aid you in your own year in review and help to set you up for what I hope will be a really positive and encouraging, empowering 2025 for you, anchored in resilience. You have so much more power, again, as I'd mentioned earlier, than you think you do. Know that I'm here for you as a resource, as a guide, as a part of your support system. There are others that are here for you as a part of your support system. I hope that you take this holiday break, this time to really disconnect, to rest, recharge, taking 3 weeks off to return home to Jamaica for the first time in 21 years. And then we'll also continue heading south from there to explore new terrain, new landscapes, and just truly disconnect and to be at one with nature and my surroundings. Thank you all so much, as always, for sticking around to get to this point in the conversation. If there's anything specific that you'd like to hear from me, I'm always looking for feedback. I'm always looking for input. So please do reach out to us. There are several ways that you can get in touch. Email, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. All the links are linked below. Please do subscribe and like below. It really helps this channel grow. It's a way that other people can find out about this and get access to our resources. I appreciate you all. I'm wishing you a happy holiday season. Stay safe and stay warm, depending on where you are located. And I'll see you in a couple weeks.